Okay, and we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Civility Wednesdays with Civility Localized. Once again, I'm Christine Edwards. I'm the founder of Civility Localized, and I'm here today with Anovia Bedford, founder of VetDeck, and we're going to talk all about small business collaboration. Hi, Anovia.
Hi, Christine. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for being here. So,
Absolutely.
I'm going to start by reading your impressive bio so I can let the folks know who you are and what brings you here today and how you really, bring your marketing skills to the world. So, Anovia Bedford is a marketing specialist and expert. Leveraging entrepreneurial vision and drive, Anovia Bedford thrives in startup and early stage environments, working to drive profitable growth by coordinating clients with industry leading companies, partners, and sponsors. Her experience encompasses diverse industries with a special talent for marketing, PR, social media, branding, event planning, and relationship building. Anovia prides herself on developing and implementing engaging and impactful influencer programs, workshops, and campaigns. In her current role as a founder of VetDeck, a full service marketing agency, and co founder of Black Tech CLT, the first community for Black entrepreneurs and technologists in Charlotte, North Carolina, Anovia has a keen eye for recognizing potential and pinpointing valuable investments. Anovia honed that skill with Funding Post, an organization that connects rising entrepreneurs with angel investors. The group represents a portfolio valued in excess of $108 billion. Anovia has provided creativity, innovation, and leadership to marketing and branding activities. Furthermore, Anovia has also worked with local governments, including the MEC Lending Loan Program, City of Charlotte, MIEP, Mayor's Youth Employment Program, Tech Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, All Together, All Charlotte Vaccination Event, where over 500 residents were vaccinated. She has also cultivated sponsorships and partnerships with industry leaders such as Keurig, Jim Beam, Walmart, JCPenney's, Topshop, Airbnb, Tito's, Jack Daniels, and more. My favorite is, Anovia's representation on that side of things makes it really fun to work with her. Anovia is an effective team leader who astutely manages budgets and all project campaign resources. She collaborates well with all level of professionals, from vendors to street teams to CEOs. She is both a creative and strategic, providing vision and direction needed to define company goals and optimize revenue generation. So impressive.
Thank you. I'm like, oh, I do actually do things.
Yes.
Sometimes when you're so busy caught up in the work, it's kind of like, what have I done? I'm like, thank you. Read my bio to me anytime.
Right, right. So you have the experience of working with these private corporate brands, and you also have the experience of partnering with local government, community focused events and brands. And so I think that really makes the perfect sort of combination, when it comes to small business collaboration, learning how to connect the dots and pull people together. That's a really valuable skill.
Thank
So,
you.
so how I've been doing Civility Wednesdays is really just digging into your industry and talking about some of your experiences. But I do have a couple of questions that I want to ask you.
Go
Um,
for it.
Fantastic. The first question is, tell us about your company and how you utilize partnerships to grow.
So that deck, there's two sides of it, right? There's the agency side where we're full service marketing agency. We do everything from planning events, marketing strategies, AR development, and then there's the technology side where both sides I've leaned on partnerships. So technology side, I had to find a great group of engineers to build this thing and make it make sense for me. And then on the agency side, we work with partners all the time on projects because we fit a scope of the project, but we still need partners for the overall, right? So Amplify Charlotte, sorry. Civility localized. New branding is one of our great partners. We worked on so many projects together. And I think that when you're working in partnerships, understanding how each other works is like the first step to see where you complement, because there are certain things with my partners that I'm not the best at and they are absolutely rock stars. And I'm like, rock that out while I rock out my part. So that deck revolves around partnerships. A step further of how we utilize partnerships, we help people get their own partnerships. So one of our main focuses with VetDex is to teach minority businesses how to incorporate sponsorship and partnerships as an additional revenue stream for them. So everything from, if you have a pet care company, how you can work with PetSmart or or Petco or one of or Purina, whatever it is, to further your company. So I think that partnerships makes my world go round.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about that, about how our companies have worked together over the past couple of years. I think, especially when you're working in government contracts, the government has a really specific thing that they need, right? And so when it comes to working together, it expands your capacity. So when it came to, for example, the COVID-19 pandemic, tell me about how you worked with local service providers to provide those health resources and those emergency resources. I mean, you as a marketing company, you don't necessarily have access to those products, but you have those partnerships and relationships.
Absolutely. We worked with a nonprofit organization that was asked to get information out there about vaccinations. So we came up with a small event strategy where we could rely on and lean on some other local organizers to host events. And it wasn't to sway anyone's decision in either way, it was to give information. So we hosted about 16 small events through partnerships where, we gave them a budget, like, here's your budget to host this event. Since it was still COVID, we had to keep it, small, so 25 people max. And it really helps to spread the word quickly. When you think about marketing nowadays, you think a lot about, oh, social media, radio, but sometimes you have to take grassroots approaches. Sometimes you have to do guerrilla. Sometimes you have to, activate locally. And partnerships and running ambassadors is really important when it comes to that. So there were so many partners on that. Um, there I'm trying to think of like all of the different vendors. Walmart partnered. There was support from the city. There was support from the county. Freedom Fighting Missionary is the one that brought me into the loop to kind of get this thing going. And it was such a great turnout. There was two. There was to receive your first shot and then your second shot. And leading up to that, we had maybe 3 events a week just to spread the word. People asked all kinds of questions. And most important, we partnered with.
Oh no, it looks like we lost. Oh, there
I'm
you are.
back. We partnered with doctors to hold these conversations, and not just any doctors that looked like the people that we were trying to get to. So that was the
Mhm.
most important. It was very important for me to go to an event and talk to a black doctor and ask all of my questions, right? When we're working in the Latinx community, for us, it was important for them to talk to, a Latinx doctor and get what they needed. When it was an Asian event, the same thing, because information is different when you get it from people that look like you, and it's part of marketing. So it was very intimate conversations. It was very no holds bar. Like, listen, I heard this about the vaccine, and
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that, Anovia. Also, I would want to share about our current project that we're working on together and how we're utilizing partnerships to grow not our businesses, but grow and serve our client. Our current client is Mecklenburg County government. And the project that we're working on, we've branded PB MEC, Participatory Budgeting for Mecklenburg County. We're so excited about working on this project together because when I first learned about it, I was thinking, wow, this is a budget transparency project. It's all about, creating more transparency, getting people involved in the government process. That's right up my alley, as a community engagement professional. But I was thinking, okay, how can we really get the word out? Who could I partner with in terms of the marketing for this? And so it just really made sense. And I think from a business standpoint, that really strengthened our team. It expanded our capacity. So not only do you have the Civility localized team working on it, we also had your team of marketing professionals working on this project as well. So we're coming together and just creating more capacity, being able to go after bigger projects together, because that one it's like a 10-month long project, and it could really make a difference. So if you could just, tell folks about PBMEC and what kind of marketing strategies that you are bringing to the table.
So we're going to take it back to working on the contract together because that's the first step, honestly, when partnering. Some people, I don't think, understand the full scope of having to write a proposal of this size. So it took us, what do you think, Christine, like a month?
At least a
Yeah,
month
like
just to
six,
put together the proposal.
yeah, like maybe 4 to 6 weeks. So with small businesses, if it's just, your small team, that's a capacity issue right there because who can you assign to write this? So I think that the partnership starts, way back when you have the conversations of, okay, well, we're going to write this proposal and it's probably going to be about 80 pages long. Do you have the capacity to contribute to this? Um, and you did a wonderful job of putting it together. So it's like, we have our documents going and we're input and we're going, kinds of back and forth. And I think that from then we kind of decided what the strategy was going to be. We were like, this is what we have to do. And I'm like, okay, well, these are my ideas behind it. We can do some social, we can do some events. You were like, I think we need volunteers for these committees. And it kind of was such an organic kind of transaction of like, okay, well, you're good at this, you do this, I'm good at this, I do this. So I think that because we worked on smaller projects before, that it was when it was time for a big one, it was like, I know how you roll, you know how I roll. Like, nobody's gonna drop the ball. And if we do, the other person is gonna kind of pick it up. So I think that was really important at the start of even bidding on this contract, right? And then we had to have all of the calls and everybody having their parts. But the project is participatory budgeting. We're very excited that it's in Mecklenburg County. It is completely transparent. Each district has $500,000 to spend on whatever project that they can imagine that the county can do within means. So it took a lot of research on how people were going about this. New York has great videos on YouTube about their program, but also it's such a compact place. So when you look at the landscape of Mecklenburg County, like, Charlotte is that circle, but then you have all of this around it that has to be included, and everyone is kind of siloed. It's like how? And looking at the demographic, they're so different from district to district. So we kind of had to create mini marketing plans for each district because some things work in one district that weren't going to work in another district.
Right.
So really started off there. We decided to do the ambassador kits that gave the demographic information. So the first thing that the volunteers got from us was that kit. They got their T-shirts, they got their binders, and it really got them excited. Like the
Mm-hmm.
volunteers that CL selected were so good. We got 100 something applications and really having those conversations and talking through everyone. And all of it was part of the marketing because these are the people that are going to take it to the next level and get it done and talk passionately about it. I remember running into one of our volunteers somewhere and she hadn't met me. And the way that she was like telling the information that I put in the ambassador kit to me, I was like, oh yeah, tell me more. Yeah, this is great. Tell me
Right.
more. Um, so having that excitement from the start, I think has been able to catapult us and put us ahead when it comes to this because doing a participatory budgeting program, if you look at other territories, is not the easiest thing to do.
It's not, because you have to translate a lot of that complicated language from the government. You have to translate that into something that people will care about and understand, and something that they can see themselves in. People need to be able to see themselves in the work. So think about the projects that are going to make the biggest impact in your neighborhood and in your community. That's how you really get people to care about what's going on. And I mean, it's definitely it's a different type of project to work on, and I'm just glad that we're doing it together.
I am so glad that we're doing this together, girl. Because there are so many moving parts and like the different sections. So we have that volunteer section. So it's like, okay, we have to get the volunteers, but right after we're getting the volunteers, almost simultaneously, we have to market to the general public to get ideas in. So we're like cultivating volunteers. We're marketing to the general public to get ideas in. We're, making sure that press is getting done, all the while still putting out general, messaging around the program for when it's time to vote. So there were so many different. So like for the volunteers, we had events so they could come and learn about the program. Then we had to do a whole bunch of marketing to get people to submit ideas, right? It's like we need ideas. They came with ideas, and then how are they going to formulate them? So now we're at the point of when it's voting. So that's another set of messaging like, well, the volunteers did the work. Now we have the programs, and now it's time to vote on them. So we're at the finish line. We got a couple more days left of voting. So
Yes.
vote.
Yes, absolutely. So if you all see there in the chat, definitely visit that website, budget.mecnc.gov. Please go. If you do live here in Mecklenburg County, you are eligible to vote. We're encouraging everybody to vote with this project. So thank you for giving us a shout out for that. So I'm going to move forward, and I have a couple of more questions for you, Anovia. My next question has to do with some of the challenges. I want to hear about VetDeck and working in the sponsorship community, working in the partnership community. What is one of the biggest challenges that you've seen when it comes to collaborating with other small businesses?
So from the sponsorship, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. It's a little choppy, but it's more clear now, but it's a little choppy.
Okay, great. So, well, one, in the sponsorship realm, we're essentially kind of the middleman. So we have clients who want to get connected with a brand, and we basically train them on how to talk to the brand and how to get things done. So one of the number one challenges that I find in sponsorship working with event organizers is that they're unclear of what they want to give away for sponsorship. So you get people that are like, oh yeah, I'm fine if a brand wants to come in and they want to completely rename my event for, $500,000, then yep. But then once you start getting into the nitty gritty of it, and it's like, well, they want this, they want that. It's like, oh, wait, oh, no. So you don't want to give away everything. So I always suggest for them to really sit down and decide what they're okay with letting go of. So a lot of power struggles happens there. Another challenge I think would be micromanaging a service that you don't know how to do. So that might be number one. I think that when you're working with service providers that are in a field like sponsorship, that it's not something that everyone hires, right? So a lot of people hire marketers, a lot of people hire PR, a lot of people hire designers, but sponsorship procurement is so specific. And I think that some clients or some people have an idea in their head of what it should look like, but that's not actually what it looks like. It's like, well, we want to do this, but the brand doesn't care about those things. The brand wants you to have an iPad.
Right.
It's kind of I feel like those are the two biggest challenges. Of course, helping people negotiate, and people really setting realistic expectations around sponsorship. I think that social media has done its share of damage on the sponsorship world and what it should look like, because people are coming out the gate. I've never hosted an event. I've never done anything, but I think that this company should give me $100,000 because social media said so. And it's like, I've worked on concerts of major celebrities that's what they're asking for, So I think that there gets a little bit of confusion around what sponsorship looks like. A lot of people think that it's a pretty thing. Oh, such and such is sponsoring my event, and everybody wants to. I call it the photo shoot effect. It's like the people who are like doing all of these photo shoots all the time, but when you ask them questions about their business, it's like they don't know because they're not there to do the business. They're there for the photo shoot. And when you're taking on sponsors and you're doing sponsorship, you're acting as a marketing company for that client. So if somebody comes and they give you $50,000 to sponsor your event, you are basically taking them on as a marketing client, and you have to hit those deliverables. So I think that people don't take it seriously enough sometimes as a business transaction.
Absolutely. I think that definitely hits home because sometimes as a small business owner, you're thinking, okay, all I need is visibility. I need more people to see what I'm doing. And it sounds so easy just to reach out to a partner and say, oh, well, you and I are kind of doing the same thing. Let's collab. Let's collab. Like, what does that mean when people say that? So it's so important to know your numbers and to understand what is the actual goal here. You know, you can go to your peer and say, okay, let's collaborate on something. That's just as important as when you go to Nike and say, I would love to have Nike sponsor this. You know, you really should understand what your goals are. So you've helped me realize that as well. Even for something like a speaking engagement like this, you know, it's you have to think about, okay, what are the goals here? What's the value of this person's time? How can I make sure that that is going to be valuable for this person? Yeah, that can be a challenge. That I think especially, and this is kind of getting off script a little bit, but especially in this virtual world, when it's so easy to provide a stage, it's so easy to provide a platform for events. It feels like everybody wants to do an event, you know, and you're thinking, okay, how is this going to be valuable? How can we make sure that this is going to be worth everybody's time and going to be valuable to the audience, to the people that you're wanting to actually look at it? So
everybody wants to have an event, but also everyone's event is the best event. So on average, we talk to about 1,500 event organizers and entrepreneurs a year, and every single one of their event is the best event. Nobody has ever done anything like this, and I'm sitting back like, okay, are you sure? Because I just I heard something very similar about a brunch earlier today. So it's very interesting how people perceive what they're doing in terms of value, because that usually isn't where the value is. Where the value is what the brand needs from you. So we do a lot of deck reviews where people send us their sponsorship decks, their pitch decks, and we review them and give our feedback. We've been in this industry for more than 20 years, and people are often surprised by their feedback, because I can go through a whole deck and all I see is like, my event is the best. This is what we serve. And I'm like, okay, I'm a brand. What am I getting? You've not told me anything that I'm getting out of this deal. You've told me how amazing you are, but I would also like to know what I get from your amazingness. So yeah, those are
right. Absolutely. And I also think that as a B2B marketer, so the difference between B2C and B2B, it really, you have to communicate what that value is to that brand. So B2C is business to customer, right? Business to consumer. So that is someone who's selling a product or service directly to a consumer. Then B2B is business to business. That's the realm that Civility localizes in. We are service providers. We're providing a service to a company, right? The government. And so there's such a big difference there, because you have to know how is that going to be valuable for not only the people that you're partnering with, but also the end user. I'll give you one quick example that I'm thinking of now. So I also offer coaching services for small businesses to learn how to win government contracts. And one of the things that I find valuable is offering training through a third-party platform, not a third-party platform, but through a partnership with a small business center, for example, like a community college. That to me is going to be valuable because they can provide a bigger audience than if I was going to try to go out and get that audience on my own. So I feel like collaborating on B2B provides a lot of benefits when you're offering training.
absolutely, completely agree.
Yes. Okay. This is such a good conversation. And that sometimes you do have like stereotypes that you have to overcome when it comes to working together, as a woman-owned business, as a Black-owned business, and thinking about just little things that you don't even want to, mention, like, oh, I don't want to work with this person because of personal reasons, or I don't do this because this person did this. And there's a lot of, sometimes there could be stereotypes when it comes to two businesses working together. So that's one of the myths that I've seen, and one of the things that I've had to sort of overcome. And I want to ask you, what is a myth that you would like to bust in the sponsorship and marketing industry?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's that overall that women can't work together, that Black women can't collaborate, that we can't work together, that, we're catty and all these other things. And also, a lot of people feel that other people want to steal their business. So uh, before Vet Deck fully launched, I worked for a nonprofit funder, and I would meet with businesses, and outside of that I also consulted, and so many people would ask me to sign NDAs. Like, it was such a thing for some people, and I'm like, honestly, I talked to a couple of thousand businesses. Trust me, your business idea is not going to be good enough that I'm going to want to steal it. You don't have to worry about, like, absolutely protect yourself, but for in some situations, like, you can kind of feel out when it's unnecessary. But also that, women can't work together. I have some great working relationships. I work with mostly women. My entire team, except for my engineer, we're women. A lot of my partners, we're women, and I think that we work well together. I think we communicate well. Um, and yeah, I think that you can reach out or get introduced to other women and have beautiful, fruitful business relationships without, the myth of, oh, well, I don't want to ask her for this because she might this, or like, I don't want to do this. I don't like it.
No, we have to make sure we don't perpetuate those myths and those stereotypes. And we just have to let people know, women-owned businesses, I think, is the fastest growing category of people starting businesses. It's something like, oh gosh, what is the number? Because then
It's
American Express
Black
came out
women
with a
businesses,
report.
yeah. I think that we are like 3 to 1 in other businesses, something like that. That, like, we're just making businesses so fast. Oh, and a second part of that myth is that Black run women owned businesses are not scaling. So there are a lot that don't, because of what their industry are, but there are a bunch that we are out here scaling. Like, we are out
Absolutely.
here growing teams. We still have the highest number of solopreneurs, but that has historical context and all other stuff that I won't get into because then we'll be here for the next 2 hours. But the women of today, that can access the resources, which is another challenge, we're scaling, we're growing our teams, we're bringing on bigger contracts. We're going after bigger contracts, and we're working together very well.
Absolutely. Um, I just got this information from our content specialist, and I want to share this with you all. The US has 12.3 million women owned businesses in the US. Women owned businesses generate $1.8 trillion a year, and 40% of US businesses are women owned. So
We
that's huge.
That's huge. It's almost
Yeah.
that huge.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that I saw here locally, super recent, I think this just broke the news today. One of our colleagues who is an angel investor, I don't know if you know Dr. Shantae
Mhm.
Williams.
She's a client too.
Yes. So she is a client and a colleague and a partner. And I just have enjoyed watching her, move and navigate. But so she's an angel investor and a VC. I hope I don't say that wrong, but she's a venture capitalist and investor. And one of the things that recently was announced by her company was that she's going to be starting a loan fund for Black-owned businesses and for small businesses, and also focusing on people who were recently incarcerated or formerly incarcerated individuals who are business owners. And so I saw that. I was like, that's huge. So she's providing microloans and loans up to 100K. So I just want to give her a shout out and just
Love
really
it.
reinforcing what you're saying. We are scaling, we are growing. It happens through collaborations. None of this happens on your own. I don't want people to think that it happens on their own. So whenever people say, oh, this is a self-made billionaire,
No,
that
no.
doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. And it's really your network. Like your network is your net worth. And some of Black Tech Charlotte, me and Sherelle and Frida started that, together, and we ended up selling it last year. So me and Frida didn't know each other coming into the situation. Sherelle had just met her. Me and Sherelle went to college together, and it was like there's a need, and the three of us can come together and make it make sense. And that's what we did. So sometimes I do think that egos can be involved, but it's also easy to push it aside when you find those right people, those right collaborators. Me, you, and Shakia and a couple of other people are like, okay, let's get together and go after these really big contracts, because if what is the saying? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Whatever it
Absolutely.
is, we're trying to go far, so we definitely lean on each other.
Yes, yes. Small business collaboration is so important. That collaboration, letting go of egos, and being able to think long term, right? Thinking bigger and long term is going to require you to work together. So I think I want to just keep it short and sweet today. We've been chatting for about 30 minutes. Those are all the questions that I have for you. I feel like we've covered quite a bit here in our short time. Is there anything else you want to add about collaborating?
No, I just look forward to collaborating with you more. And, if anybody has any projects out there that they want to talk to me about, talk to us about, definitely let us know. One of my clients in Charlotte is the Center for Digital Equity. And on Saturday, we will be giving out 100 computers at Camp North End for people who live in zip code 28206. This is the first event in that area, but we'll also be doing it across Mecklenburg County. So Center for Digital Equity.
What's
Look
the
us
website?
centerfordigitalequity.org. Definitely come. You can follow on social CDE MEC. There's a link tree where you can find out more information about volunteering. They have all these awesome committees and work streams that you can be on. The focuses are on digital skills. Digital Navigators is one of the programs that is hosted by the CDE, where you can get help with anything. Like if you need help with your device, if you want to learn how to use your device, definitely look out for that. I'm also the Grow with Google digital coach for North Carolina. So I teach free classes for Google. So come to my Instagram, Novey.B. Or here on LinkedIn, I post all the time. I host 4 classes a month. And yeah, just find me.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you again soon.
Yeah, in like 10 minutes.
Yep. All right. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. One last thing I will say is we are going to be having one final Civility Wednesdays for the month of June. On June 22nd, we're going to be talking about our new offer, which is called Community Mapping. We have a new service that we are rolling out, and it's called Community Mapping. So join us right back here next Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon. Hope to see you there. Bye.